polarized to that ley line. Every metropolis is on an energy center. Everyone on Earth. There's in some of the energy centers, the metropolises have faded out with time. But you still have the remnant present.
Right.
To show you that we in cycles. So now they can look at which star is affecting or is being affected by the longitude, latitude, and triangulate. A chief's going to be born on this day according to the alignment of the stars. Remember when they told the story of the three wise men?
Yeah.
They knew that a king was born how? Because it was in the stars. Right? So the Pleiadian belt represents the three kings or the three wise men. Right? But under the original priesthood, it represented the three sisters. Right? And the three sisters operate on a game called Four Corner Shuffle. The Four Corner Shuffle is the 4X chromosomes. And the 4 and the 3 is the bands of the Pleiades, which is the seven sister seal. Right? So when the child is being blessed, he got to be blessed by seven sisters. They don't have to be blood sisters. They just have to have a blood tied to the land. Seven matriarchs. Right? So the three sisters flip you to the seven sisters on a four corner shuffle in the family dynamic in order to reset the royal family. In order to bring the ancient ones back to the forefront, there's a mathematical formula. Right? And it's through these formulas that we return the sequence of genetics in its alignment to the energy of the ancient one that was here before. But it's all cycles within cycles. Layers on layers.
Hey Rod, what happens to Enlil during the golden age?
Enlil is gonna be they're gonna do him bad. Apparently they're gonna let him decay. That means they're gonna lock him into a human body that once he decay, he fade away, he don't exist no more. It's a ruthless form of punishment for the most worst of the eternal ones to turn them mortal. In their mortality, they can't restructure the spiritual matrix. That is like an energy. I don't even read them. I don't even read them like people. When I say Enlil, I'm talking about a frequency.
Frequency, right.
When I say Inky, I'm talking about a masculine earth frequency. Inky mean Earth Lord. Right? But the owner of the earth is not a man. The owner of the earth is the women. Right? And the men is the ones who protect the women while they take care of the earth. And we carry out the heavy lifting and they carry out the decorating. What flora and fauna go over here? Right? What new animals should we create? Go tell the scientist guides.
Right.
Practice your ability to create by creating a new animal.
Right.
We need something big like a horse with a head like a dog and a tail like a shark.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck we need it for, but it looked different. Right? We had all kind of creatures of every possible imagination it's been here. Right? In this cycle that we in, nobody was allowed to come in what they call today mythical form. Right? But if you look close, you can see the mythical form peering through their human shell.
What you mean?
You can see the fairies. They look like little dainty cute girls, but they adults. And they got male fairies too. They little bitty guys, and they like Prince. Right? And you have ogres. Right? They look obese and big, and their shoulders lean to the floor, and they always got a roll around their neck. Right? You can see the old mythical creature peering through the human form because the spiritual form is trying to conform to the physical matrix.
That's deep, man. Wow.
Right? You can look at certain people and you can tell they totem animal because they look like them. Right? One dude might look like a monkey. Another dude might look like a dog. Another dude might look like a bird. Right? But you're looking at the impression of the strongest totem in their bloodline peering through their human flesh. This is why they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Right? And if your eyes, if your heart is pure and your mind is open, you can see through the soul of an individual straight into your own. We all connected, but we got to remember that.
I want everybody to have a clear understanding of what you're saying, Rod. I want to share this message from a brother who maybe don't understand what you're saying, and hopefully we could understand each other. He says, shit don't make sense. You telling men their whole existence is to fight, but women own some shit that can't defend. This narrative is misleading and divisive. What
No, he's taking that totally out of context. He's looking at that from the patriarchal view. That's how you patriarchally, this is how we taught to look at this dynamic of a matriarchy. Right? Women decided to bring men to Earth. It was a time we wasn't here. All of the Y chromosomes on the Earth trace back like 36,000 years ago. Who the fuck was making babies before that? It had to be making some babies because it was people before that, but they was all female. Right? But we don't want to talk about that. The reality is we ain't just here to fight. We also here to be lovers. We fighting to make our war story into a love story. That's the real fight. Right? That's the building of the self. That's the study to show thyself approved. Right? You can't reap the rewards of heaven without doing the work. And the rewards of heaven is the acceptance of the women. Can you imagine a world that you walking around as a man and none of the women want you? You're going to be the maddest motherfucker out there. If you a man, you walking around on earth, all these women and don't none of them want you. Because you ain't did nothing with yourself to make yourself of any value to anybody, including yourself. The spiritual aspect of the protecting the women is really for the men to do their shadow work so that you can be the best possible mate for the female that selects you. Right? Because no matter what you think, you don't choose her, she choose you. You might think you choose her because she was walking a certain way and got your attention. You think she didn't know she was getting your attention when she walked that way? Right? They know, they got an instinct. And they know how to lure the men that's best for what they want to produce for the future. They make alliances. Every man can't be polygamous. Just like every man ain't meant to be monogamous. You got levels to this shit. Right? If he think that, that all we supposed to do is go out and have war, then he's got it all mixed up. It's a symbiosis. It's one hand washes the other. We do one thing, they do a different thing, but the value is the same. If you balance. Right? So we as men, we do the heavy lifting. Because we was made to lift heavier weight. That's why our muscle and bone density is greater. It don't mean she can't lift nothing heavy. I know some women that can outlift most of these dudes. But that's not what we mean. We mean gender roles. We mean divine masculine meets divine feminine. And then they do this celestial dance in the universe in their heart. This is what we're talking about. Right? The labor. Women work in the matriarchy just like men work. It's just that they decide how a different way of work might be more suitable. Some of them want to work on the farm, while other ones want to work in the city. Right? But under the patriarchy, women just started working 75, 80 years ago because of World War II. Before that, it wasn't no motherfucking Susie the Builder. They was out there, but the patriarchy didn't respect that shit. In the matriarchy, everybody get what they earn according to their output. The one who do the most work is gonna get the greatest reward because he earned it, not because he better than nobody. Ain't no big eyes and no little U's in the matriarchy. Big mama say don't take sides in other people's bullshit. But we always got our nose taking sides in other folks' bullshit and wonder why shit be fucked up all the time. We got to get back to where we understand that by being in a certain frequency, we can help more people by not pouring shit on top of motherfucking flowers. The shit go under the flower. The flower blossom from the shit, but you ain't supposed to put the shit on top of the flower because you smother the flower with shit, right? So people be into the game of life without following no rules and think they should win. They don't do no self-improvement, but they want all the shit that the people that improve they self earned. That's some babbling idiot shit to me. Right? But it falls back to the load is heaviest for the strongest because he can take the most weight.
This direct line to source code, this 6-hour window that's happening January 15th. When was the last time this happened, Rod? When we had this alignment that we're seeing that's happening in a couple of days?
Like 36,000 years ago.
36,000, okay.
Roughly. It only happened every so often. But remember, even when it's time for it to come close, if the people haven't unlocked enough codes, it'll flip them back into the infinity loop. We're just trying to get the ascension. We're not trying to stay in the infinity loop. In that case, I could have just kept doing what I was doing. Somebody got to tell these people, and ain't nobody telling them. Just shift your energy from war energy to love energy. Turn your war story into a love story in your heart and your mind. When the frequency hits you, it's going to give you the Holy Ghost.
Yo, the dude, I was watching a video. The dude was saying that that the power that's going to be generated during this window, during this time, it's more powerful than any force in all the galaxies, all the universes. It's the most powerful force that's going to be produced.
It's the source code.
Yeah.
It's the source code.
The other extraterrestrials, do they have access to source code? Anunnakis, Palladians, and all these other creatures that we hear about that
they on a different clock though. They on a different clock. They on a different clock because they from a different star system.
Okay.
When they from a different star system, they align to when the center of the universe line up to their star system or planet. Right? And the same way you have the 100 monkey effect, right? If all of the humans decide there's an advantageous, or if a certain amount of them decide there's a advantageous survival mechanism that we could all benefit from, the 100 monkey effect will feed it to the great egregore or universal mind or the collective unconscious of the people. And we need the women because they are literally synced to the earth through mitochondria, and they sponsor us through mitochondria. Right. And they're going to get source code data upgrades before the men because they have to feed them through them to us. Right. Because they are the ones who's filtering this source code through the earth. So the more sisters be in that gratitude, love energy. If it was up to me, I'd tell every female in America and around the world, Monday spa day.
Oh, Monday spa day?
Monday spa day. All of them. Every last one of them. Monday is spa day. Go, relax, let your hair down, sit in the hot tub, jacuzzi, get a massage. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you do on spa day, get your fingernails done, primp your hair, Go put your weave in, whatever. Whatever make you feel the greatest feminine feeling in your heart, that's what you should be doing when these source codes come in. Because that's how you gonna catch them and hold them the greatest. That'd be if it was up to me. But you know, people tend to be thinking that people that say stuff like that, oh, he a cult leader. Nope. That's why I don't be at nobody gatherings. They can't say I had nobody meet me nowhere. If a motherfucker say I did something to them, I guarantee you they came where I'm at.
Oh man.
You understand?
The snake, the apple.
It's a Babylonian breeding program. It's the instructions to create a worker species using the root stock of the species that's already here. So they trying to use genetic manipulation to dumb them down and make them controllable. This is what they call inserting the worship gene. Because they were supposed to use genetics to instill in the people the desire to honor them as their superiors. And instead of forcing them to do it in the open, they would do it by inserting the worship gene in the genetics. All this is what was going on in what they call the garden. It was part of a genetic manipulation of the DNA of the species of the planet.
Right. Wow. And so when you say this breeding program, what race was a part of this breeding program? And was this? Yeah.
When you look back into the ancient Vedic records and you match that up with the Sumerian records and the legends of the indigenous people of the Great Atlant, you can piece together that it was a whole lot of different, like a conglomerate of different beings who discovered a different species on Earth at different times. And they all became instrumental in manipulating the species. And they justify it by saying it's to raise our consciousness so that we can achieve some stuff that they call godhood. Right. But the God state of the earth being is to be in one with the frequency of the planet Earth. So this is why we say bring heaven back to earth, because before usurpation, earth was heaven to the people of earth. Right. So somebody had to come from somewhere else to warn us about a hell while they give us hell in the place that we once seen as heaven. It's a good misdirection. An illusionist trick. But once you see how the trick is played, your brain won't accept it as a trick no more. It'll reject it. And that's why I keep trying to explain it as simple as possible, all of these things that they use to deceive us and how it work. Because when you understand how it work, your brain gonna naturally use that in your natural self-defense of your psyche and your spiritual self. Right? So your consciousness is still earthborn, but they've manipulated the genetic stock by incorporating different extraterrestrial DNA into the human stock, which they call the missing links in the evolutionary theory. Right? Because you're looking at the whole species just pop up and be a new species for no reason. That's manipulation. That's science. And they've also found a scar tissue where that they can identify parts of the DNA that's been replaced. You know, in a DNA replication process, it's a duplicate. So you could trace back genetically using the rate of genetic divergence to see how long ago was this done.
Right. Right.
You know, all these scientists is doing this stuff. I'm just telling y'all what they doing.
Right.
What they looking at, because we don't know. Nobody's coming back to the hood saying, hey, yo, the scientists in the laboratory trying to figure out how to downgrade your DNA and upgrade theirs. And then this is how it works. A lot of people have the theory, but they don't have the operational format by which the thing is being applied. Right? So I come in, I say, this is what they doing. This is how it works. Yeah. You know, and all of that genetic manipulation is part of the tools of oppression. It's an act of war on a free will society.
You know, I remember years ago, like a lot of years ago, Alex Jones had this DVD. I think it was Alex Jones. He had this DVD called The Prison Planet. And a lot of people who are into this consciousness, they consider this planet like the jail of the cosmos. This is a prison planet. But I noticed if we compare it to prison, I noticed the similarities between the language that we use for prison and our and how we, you know, in our body. So we got the prison, then we got the prism, light prism. We got cells, we got cells. You in a jail cell, we got cells. You got they charge you with battery, we could charge our battery. You know, we're like a battery and we could charge our battery. So the language is very similar. Talk to me about why do you think they decided to use the language when it comes with the prison system, and it sort of ties it to metaphysically who we might be, Rod? What's the deal with that?
So most of the naming of the prison system is a understanding of how the sociology is applied in the general public. Right? If they can use the science and lure you like a carrot on a stick by using terms interchangeably, this is what they call the curse of the English language. You know, and the secret societies rely on the interpretation and misinterpretation of synonyms and homonyms, right? With acronyms, all these things are code talk training methods where you can see what they really saying. It teaches you how to read their symbolism. Once you read their symbolism, then you can take control of the great egregore by exposing how it worked to the general public. Because once you know how